Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I thought we would actually do a slightly different video today, talking about a game that I've been looking forward to for a long time. We actually played through its closed beta test more recently on the channel, but now it's time to have a chat about the fact that it's coming to early access on the 6th of February on Steam. So Arms Trade Tycoon Tanks finally has a release date after a few years of development. Now, they are actually adding a ton of stuff to it compared to its closed beta, and we'll go through those things, but also, first of all, let's just chat about the game and why I am actually so interested in it. From the beginning, when I was hit up by the guys who actually have been, developing the game, pretty much from the outset, one of the things that they describe this game as is the idea of taking tycoon elements from previous games and adding them into the world of military vehicles. And this is something which really kind of made me interested. As somebody who's enjoyed stuff like Roller Coaster Tycoon in the past, Railway Tycoon, a bunch of city builders, like, stuff like SimCity, and even, things like City Skylines, watching it, and a bunch of other stuff, like even recently Land of the Vikings is a similar game in a way to this one. I really have enjoyed the genre, and one thing that it's been missing is a one which kind of mixes military stuff with, of course, the tycoon mechanics. So when this came along, and when this started being developed, all I was interested in was giving it a go. And also, once, the Kickstarter went through, once they got the funding, then they were picked up by Microprose, which of course made a big surge a few years ago to kind of come back into prominence. And obviously Microprose doing a bunch of different things, such as making an updated version of the Mighty 8th B-17 game, and also Boat Crew, which is another game that we played recently, which is in early access, which if you like stuff like Bomber Crew and also Space Crew, you'll enjoy Boat Crew. It's really fun on the good old PT boats. Arms Trade Tycoon Tanks was another game alongside those, which I was just like, this is kind of what I grew up with. This idea, and also this, this area of gaming. And for me, that is super cool to come back to. A lot of people, when Gonna Heat PC was getting a lot of coverage from many different areas of the internet, talked about the fact that it was nice to see a game which kind of brought in the nostalgia, but with updated systems. And when I look at Arms Trade Tycoon Tanks, that's literally how I see this compared to pretty much everything else. I have the full closed beta playthrough that we did on the YouTube channel, so if you want to check it out, there's a playlist for it. I'll link it for you as well in the description. But this one is going through its release date and also going through a bunch of other stuff which will be here. The video is available on Microprose's channel if you want to go see it, and also of course with audio and everything like that. But at the end of the day, it's just one of those it's one of those games which purports to go from the early areas of World War One all the way until the modern day eventually, if enough people kind of find enjoyment out of it and have fun. Right now, when it comes to the early access version, which is going to be released on the 6th of February, it's going to be going from 1914 to 1934. So that playthrough that we did, which was just 1914 to 1916, where Britain decided to invade Denmark to lose, then invade Iceland to be stuck in a draw battle with Iceland, and then Spain invaded Portugal, Italy attacked Spain, Austria-Hungary was trying to sort out their empire. There was all of these different interesting things going on in just that 2-year period. And now they're extending the game to 20 years. So basically, at the end of the day, growing the game by 10 times that amount. I'm so looking forward to it because there's just going to be so much stuff going on, and just kind of, sorting out new designs, researching new things, and just trying to build and create some tanks to just take over everything. The beta itself was just really fun. It was just like an extended demo, kind of showing how all of the different areas actually work. And for me, I just had a really, really nice time. The other thing that's also going to be in the game, so instead of just, the 20 years, you'll also have 60 World War One technologies that you'll be able to use. And if you didn't know in the game, if you haven't watched the gameplay, basically the game goes from research stage to design stage to build stage to production and then to deliver. So you do every part of it. There is nothing which is sat there. And then when your tanks are picked up by a country, they go into battle. And then as you can see, there are actually going to be videos of when your tanks fight other tanks. And you can kind of watch them in battle and see how well they do, right? Like that's how the game goes. That's how it's designed, which is super fun. There's also going to be 12 World War One tanks, which are going to be available. So there's going to be 3 from France, 3 from Germany, and then also, I'm guessing, 6 from the UK, since they were, of course, the kind of builder or push forward of the vehicles. So 12 overall, with all the different components that you can research and mix and match with different designs, which is super cool, right? Like that to me is the big one. Like in our playthrough, we basically made an A7V, but with French guns, and also with a British engine, which had the best armor, the best mobility, and also some pretty good guns. And for me, that stuff is super cool. And also, you can actually win over 2 types of military contracts now. So before, in the beta, it was just a supply contract. So a country would come to you and be like, hey, so we need like 20 tanks, send us 20 tanks, and then from there, we will actually, you can supply them to us and you can pay as much money and then we can go from there, right? And that was really cool. But they're actually going to add in a resupply one too now. So let's say if a battalion gets hammered and a bunch of different, tanks are inactive because they just got hammered by the enemy. Now they'll be like, hey, so we need like 10 more of these types of tanks. Can you resupply them? And you'll be able to, set that up. There's going to be over 20 countries in the game. So in the closed beta, there was only Europe. But now they're going to actually expand it to different environments. So you're going to have Europe, just like the closed beta, but you're also going to have the Balkans. So you can relive your wonderful dreams of being the Balkan boys and having continued strife through that region. And then also the Middle East and even Africa. So these areas are all going to be available. So if you want to sell tanks to these different nations to try and make them powerhouses through the world, you're able to do that. And for me, I think that's super cool. There's also going to be a ton of mechanics about how, supporting specific nations and how they're going to react to you. So let's say if you build tanks for one nation and then they are unfriendly with another nation, and that other nation you also build tanks for, you will lose reputation with the first nation because, of course, they don't want you to do that, and therefore it'll be harder for you to get contracts in the future. Stuff like that, like the political side of things, is really cool. And also, of course, there are other companies that you are competing against when it comes to all of these things. It's just, there's so many different moving parts. And for me, I will upload a lot of it onto this YouTube channel just to kind of show you what it's like, at least like the first playthrough that I do, because I really, really enjoy these types of games, and this is just a perfect mix of so many of the different things. The other ones as well is you won't just face like other tanks that other countries will make because of course of doctrine and stuff like that. Another thing that your tanks will face, I mean, we faced a lot of cavalry and somehow lost a bunch, but one of the things to actually look at, which you may have seen in this shot here, if I can bring it up, is you will be fighting, as you can see, armored cars, which are right here, and then also trains. So your tanks will just go up against an armored train and see who kind of comes out on top. Now, unfortunately, my vehicles that I bought, well, not bought, but I developed and built and, sold to people, they couldn't beat horses. So I don't know how I'm going to beat a train, but it's just so interesting to see all of these different things, right? And then also, of course, they're going to improve the visuals and the UI. and also there'll be a manual which will like cover all of the various aspects of the game. This game can feel pretty daunting when it comes to the actual like tutorial side of things, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty simple. The idea is you have all of the separate processes: the research process, the build process, the design process, the build process of the overall tank, and then you have the production, and then the selling of the vehicle, right? So those are like the 5 major processes, and then there are intricate little bits in each of those. If there is anything people want me to go over, obviously I will do, because for me, like, you know, playing through the betas and having fun with them has been super enjoyable. But I've really, really enjoyed going through this stuff, and with so many new designs and also just 20 years to play with, there's going to be so many different things. Now that we can hopefully get, you know, more production lines, we can go crazy and start, you know, selling tanks to Somalia and Botswana, so they can take on the African nations. But yeah, if I understand that this game is very similar to a lot which come from the past, with a ton of what I would class as 2023/2024 mechanics. It's taking what worked incredibly well in the past and updating it to kind of the modern day, and also obviously adding a nice like shine to it through the graphics and also through the UI. And I just can't really say enough how much I've been looking forward to this. It really is something that I followed for the longest time. You know, obviously I kickstarted it back in the day. They've done 68 updates on the game, kind of going through what they're doing and pushing forward and seeing, you know, what goes on. And it's all, at the end of the day, come to a head with this early access release. Now, there is going to be a ton of content in the future. I know people are asking for more modern vehicles and stuff. That is all planned, and that I'm sure will come along. And you may notice that this early access just goes just before the Second World War period. And if you want more information on their plans, you know, I'll leave links to their Discord, I'll leave links to this video, I'll leave links to all of their other social media stuff, so you can go and ask them. The devs and the team behind the game are incredibly friendly. You know, we've done interviews in the past chatting to them about kind of what's going on, and I would highly recommend checking it out and chatting to them, because yeah, they're super open, and you know, of course plans can change over time, but at least for me, it's been fantastic going through it. As always though, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd like to thank Schnitzel Stroker, Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Carrion Crow, Nicholas Richardson, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, B. Young, Opium Prime, Masonocrat, Lafouche, Alan Hacker, Sem Arslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.